Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're tackling an absolutely massive challenge that's actively shaping our reality right now. We're figuring out how to actually verify truth and govern autonomous systems in this incredibly complex, AI-driven landscape of late 2026. Because building a solid trust framework, that's no longer just some academic exercise. It's literally essential for our personal lives and, frankly, for enterprise survival. Let's dive right in. So, we have to start with this core question. In a world of AI agents and deepfakes, how do we actually establish what's true? With AI pumping out massive amounts of content every single day, and autonomous agents taking actions all across the web, pinning down factual truth is way more challenging and way more critical than ever before. We aren't just dealing with human bias anymore. We're dealing with systems that can hallucinate facts at an unprecedented scale and just take actions without any human oversight. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The 2026 information crisis. 2. Finding reliable source data. 3. The SIFT verification method. 4. Advanced fact-checking tools. 5. Governing agentic AI. And 6. Building a trust framework. Okay, Section 1. The 2026 information crisis. Let's ground ourselves in our current reality, where the sheer speed of information completely outpaces our ability to verify it. When we break down the telltale signs of AI-generated misinformation, the dev community's 2026 research highlights some really specific patterns you need to watch out for. You're going to see overly confident or exaggerated claims, a lot of repetitive phrasing, and this distinct lack of nuance. But here's the really dangerous part. AI search tools are designed to maximize engagement, right? So they can and will hallucinate entire research citations just to give you the answer you want to hear. Section 2, Finding Reliable Source Data. To fight back against this credibility crisis, we first have to know where to find foundational, rigorous facts. We've got to anchor our knowledge in peer-reviewed academic databases. If you want the real, unvarnished truth, you have to dig into platforms like PubMed, Scopus, or JSTOR. And honestly, it takes some detective work. You can't just type in a keyword and hope for the best. You need to use Boolean operators, and or not, to refine your search and actually conduct rigorous citation searching to track a study's true impact. And then there's statistical rigor. When we look at data, does the underlying math actually hold up? GraphPad's methodology emphasizes knowing the difference between tests like Type 1 and Type 2 ANOVA, which sounds complex, but in simple terms, it's just asking, are we only looking at the specific group of people we tested, or are we trying to use that exact data to make some sweeping claim about the whole world? Understanding those nuances is what prevents us from falling for statistically insignificant hype. All right, Section 3, the SIFT verification method. Now that we know where the reliable data lives, how do we evaluate those everyday claims we casually scroll past on our feeds? Enter the SIFT method. Developed by information literacy researchers Mike Caulfield and Sam Weinberg, SIFT gives us a totally actionable playbook. First, stop and reflect on the claim before you hit share. Second, investigate the source. Make sure they aren't just trying to sell you a product. Third, find better coverage. Look for outside validation from credible peers. And fourth, trace that claim back to its original context. Taking just 5 minutes to do this, it can literally save your professional reputation. Section 4, Advanced Fact-Checking Tools. Moving from our personal habits to institutional frameworks, let's see how professionals are scaling up this fight against sophisticated misinformation. Driven by this massive shift in digital media and the absolute explosion of synthetic content, the Duke Reporters Lab noted a staggering 50% increase in global fact-checking organizations stepping up to combat false narratives. Think about that for a second. The sheer volume of fake content out there requires a massive, coordinated institutional response. So these organizations are relying on collaborative platforms like WeVerify and Truly Media to harness that massive workflow. This includes cross-modal verification, which is checking images, text, and video against each other, and social network analysis to map out exactly how rumors spread. But the most innovative part is the VeriChain. It's a secure public database of known fakes. So if one journalist debunks a deepfake in Paris, the entire global network is instantly inoculated against it. On a more tactical level, tools like the InVid open-source browser plugin are empowering journalists to act as digital forensics experts directly from their web browsers. They can reverse search images, extract video keyframes to hunt down the original source, and run AI-based forensics to expose tampered zones in real time. It's essentially a verification Swiss Army knife. Section 5. Governing Agentic AI. Now we reach the macro level. How do we maintain trust when AI isn't just creating information, but is actively taking autonomous actions? To explore this, we're going to put on our senior technology strategist hats and look at a sharp, contrarian analysis from Upside Journal. We're cutting right through the hype to examine the sobering realities of late 2026. Upside Journal cuts right to the chase. Right now, every boardroom is filled with presentations promising limitless autonomous workflows and glowing productivity. But as operators, we know the actual reality on the ground is entirely different. We are seeing dangerous agent sprawl, shadow agents running without oversight, and uncontrolled risk. The hard truth is, for most enterprises, agentic AI is going to underdeliver, not because the technology itself fails, but because our governance maturity is dangerously lagging behind. In fact, the analysts at Upside Journal project that up to 40% of enterprise agentic AI projects will fail or be totally decommissioned by 2027. 40%. That is the highly predictable outcome of treating autonomous agents like they're just faster chatbots, instead of treating them like what they actually are: independent actors with real agency and real access to your systems. Deploying these systems without a rigorous trust framework invites catastrophic failure modes. Agent sprawl leads directly to unintended actions from over-permissioned systems, which causes massive security incidents that absolutely destroy customer trust. And even more chillingly, it opens the door to severe legal liabilities, what Upside Journal explicitly calls death by AI claims. We're talking about unchecked automated decisions that violate compliance laws and land your company in court. So how do we fix these governance gaps? Upside Journal outlines 3 winning governance bets for long-term enterprise intelligence. First, runtime guardian agents. These are specialized AI supervisors that monitor your other agents in real time to prevent failures. Second, tiered autonomy frameworks. We have to move beyond simple binary on and off switches to define risk-based access, ensuring humans stay in the loop for sensitive actions. And third, sovereign observability stacks. This means having unified tracking of all data flows with hard-coded kill switches. Enterprises that adopt these won't just survive, they'll turn responsible governance into a true competitive moat. Finally, Section 6, Building a Trust Framework. Let's bring all of these concepts together to see how we secure our information and our technology landscape going forward. You see, whether we're at the micro level, like a student using the SIFT method to check a source, or the macro level of a massive enterprise deploying runtime guardian agents, the ultimate goal is exactly the same. As highlighted in a highly cited Royal Society paper on healthcare AI, the rapid adoption of this tech raises major ethical and legal concerns across the board. So our absolute priority must be collaborative, adaptable frameworks that ensure safe, fair, and above all, trustworthy applications of artificial intelligence. Which brings us to our final thought. The initial hype around all of this is absolutely going to fade, but the fundamental shift in how we interact with information and autonomous systems, that's permanent. So we have to ask ourselves, are we just passively consuming the hype, or are we actively adopting the verification methods and governance frameworks required to demand truth and ensure responsibility? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep verifying, and stay curious.